Thank you for being here with us on WUSA 9 Plus. I'm Lorenzo Hall. So Pride celebrations are all about love and heart. There was plenty of it in June of 2015 when the Supreme Court issued its ruling overturning state bans on same-sex marriage, making it legal across the country. I spoke with the man at the center of that case, Jim Obergefell. He reflects on a ruling that changed his life and millions of others. Jim Obergefell, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate it. So 10 years, we know a lot has happened since then for sure. But before we talk about the present, I want to talk about how your case ended up before the Supreme Court. A lot of folks hear the names of these cases, Obergefell versus Hodges, but they really don't know the story behind them. So we know you and your late husband, John Arthur, you got married in Maryland, but it wasn't recognized in Ohio. And we also know John was dying of ALS at the time. So this was quite the fight.
It really was. We jumped through a lot of hoops to get married in Maryland, living in Ohio where it wasn't a possibility, and we made it happen. But then to learn that Ohio would completely disregard our lawful Maryland marriage at the time they filled out John's death certificate, it broke our hearts and honestly made us angry. John deserved to have his last record as a person say that he was married, and I deserved to have my name listed on his death certificate as his surviving spouse. That's all it was. It was this need, this desire, this request for dignity and to be recognized and to have our relationship treated just like any other marriage in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, you weren't asking for anything special.
Not at all, just dignity. That's really all it was. John deserved to die a married man, and he deserved to have his death certificate in the state we called home say that he was married.
Yeah, so tell us about John and what you tell him today.
Well, John was an incredibly generous, funny, charming man. And I think if I saw him today, number one, he would say, Jim, I can't believe everything you've done. I can't believe how you've changed over the past 12 years since I died. And I would simply tell him, John, I did it all because I was fortunate enough to love you and you loved me in return. And there wasn't anything I wouldn't have done to live up to my promises to love, honor, and protect him. And that's really how I see this fight. After John passed away, I continued to fight because that meant I was doing everything I could to live up to those promises to him.
Yeah, and it says a lot that fight continues today. Now, on June 26th of 2015, we know in that 5-4 decision, the High Court made same-sex marriage legal here in the U.S. So do you remember exactly how you felt that day, that moment?
Oh, I do. Sitting in that Supreme Court, I remember bursting into tears when it sank in that Justice Kennedy said we won. And I missed John. More than anything, I missed him. And I wish that he had been sitting there with me, holding my hand. I wish that he could know that our marriage couldn't be erased. But then I also was surprised to realize it was the first time in my life as an out gay man that I felt like an equal American. So I felt love, I felt joy, I missed John. And then just knowing, walking out in front of that courthouse and seeing what this decision meant to the thousands of people flooding the Supreme Court Plaza, and just since then, knowing what this decision has meant to millions of people, the joy that they feel, the belonging that they got from this decision, the families that have formed. It's been an incredible experience.
Yeah, you talk about this impacting millions of people. We know 2015 was such a different time, even though it was only 10 years ago. Did you expect this outcome on that day?
From the start, I never allowed myself to think we would lose. I couldn't imagine the highest court in the land ruling against us because our legal argument was so simple, so obvious, and I also trusted in our legal system, and I put my faith in what's engraved on the front of that building, equal justice under law. So I hoped this would happen. We might say I expected it to happen because that was just me being optimistic and refusing to think otherwise.
Yeah, so tell us how you're feeling today. We know Ohio still has a gay marriage ban in place at the state level. And after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, for instance, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas said the court should revisit this case.
Yeah, I'm not feeling all that great these days. Marriage equality is under attack. I mean, let's be fair. Marriage equality has been under attack since the moment that decision was released. Kim Davis, all of these efforts by states over the past 10 years to undermine our marriages, to undermine our families. So marriage equality has been under attack from the moment of the decision. But these days it's even worse. You know, we have a Supreme Court justice in his concurring opinion on Dobbs calling out Obergefell as a decision he wants to overturn. He also called out Lawrence, which was the Supreme Court decision that struck down anti-sodomy laws. He also calls out Griswold, which guarantees the right to birth control. So we have that justice putting that in writing. We have another justice, Alito, who has made it clear he would like to overturn Obergefell. We have state legislatures over the past several months that have passed resolutions calling on the Supreme Court to overturn Obergefell. It makes me angry. And I don't understand why. How on earth did any queer marriage impact another marriage? It doesn't. I just don't understand the hate directed towards our community. We deserve the right to commit to that person we love, the most important person in our world. And we deserve to have that commitment, that relationship respected, protected, and dignified by the laws of our country. So I'm incredibly upset at all of the attacks on marriage equality, and I'm worried about this decision being overturned and taking us back to a time when states like where I live, Ohio, could refuse to issue marriage licenses to queer couples. That is not marriage equality.
Yeah, so with that threat, Jim, what does your fight look like today? What are you telling folks?
You know, what I tell folks is take some comfort in knowing that there are millions of people out there fighting for the queer community, fighting for equality for all marginalized communities. We are out there and we're doing everything we can. Take comfort in the fact that, yes, even if Obergefell is overturned, at least we have the Respect for Marriage Act signed into law by President Biden in 2022. That law requires all states to recognize all marriages. So while we could go back to a situation where you can't get married in the state you call home, at least if you get married in another state, your home state has to recognize it. So take comfort in that. At least there is a bit of a backstop to our marriage rights. And take comfort in the fact that the majority of Americans support marriage equality, and call your elected officials. Make sure you're voting every single election, because really the only way we can create a nation where our elected government and our judicial system reflect who we are as a people is when we vote. That's part of the reason why we have the extreme Supreme Court that we have now, because people chose not to vote in 2016.
Yeah, and with this climate right now, Jim, what would you tell the LGBTQ plus community at large today? What's your message to them?
My message is this. Right now, our trans family is bearing the brunt of the hate in this country. All of these laws that are being proposed and passed to limit bathroom use, to make gender-affirming care, life-saving gender-affirming care illegal, to potentially strike down conversion therapy bans, all of these things that are really targeting the trans community, but the queer community at large, we have got to work together. We can't focus solely on the part of the community that looks most like us. We have to fight for every part of our community. We need to get rid of racism, misogyny, transphobia. All of those things within our queer community exist, and they don't belong there. If we are not supporting and fighting for other members of our community, all we're doing is helping the opponents of the entire community. I mean, these are people who don't think any of us matter. They don't think anyone in the queer community belongs. So let's not help them. Let's fight together for equality for everyone in this community, and also equality for every marginalized community, because our community includes every single marginalized community. It isn't just about us. It isn't just about the people who look like me. It's about everyone deserving the right to be part of We the People. So focus on that. Use your voice and fight for everyone.
Yeah, very important words there and such a good reminder. Jim Obergefell, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks, Lorenzo, very much.
Obergefell will not be in D.C. for World Pride celebrations, he says, because of the current political climate, but continues to speak across the country year-round to protect LGBTQ rights. Thank you for watching. I'm Lorenzo Hall.